Okay, hello and welcome to First Talk, where we simplify your super. I'm Peter and I'm joined today with Jason and Andy, the financial planning team here at First Super. And today we're going to be talking about the age pension and the asset test. So Jason, talk to us about the asset test.
Yeah, so the asset test, basically when you go into Centerlink, basically they put a first hurdle in front of you, and it's what they call the asset test. And basically they count all the assets you have, and if you've got too much, they'll reduce the payment you can get or cancel it altogether.
So you can have too much and not get any of the age pension under the asset test.
Yeah.
Andy, what are the assets that we include? Tell us about financial assets that are included in the asset test.
So when Centerlink looks at your assets and they're deeming them to be financial, they're really considering things that can be converted into cash. So that will include money that you got in the bank account, whether it's in your savings, a term deposit. It's your superannuation as well, where you are at that pension age. And it's also things like shares and investment properties.
Investment properties. Okay, so that's included in there as well. What are non-financial assets, Jason?
Well, so the non-financial assets are the things that aren't sort of as ready to be put into cash. So you might be looking at your cars, your caravans, boats. The big yacht that Andy's got is counted there as well. But it's those things that can't be easily converted to cash.
Yeah. So, but again, what is it about the non-financial assets? You know, what's kind of one of the things that a lot of members are not wary of about the value of those?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times the contents is a good one. So you go in and you say, all right, what's your contents worth? And they'll say, 80, 90, 100,000, because that's what it's insured for. But if you need to go and sell that over the weekend, do a garage sale, good luck in trying to get that.
You're not going to get that amount.
Yeah, Centerlink's lenient with that, so they won't value the whole amount.
And what about cars? It's a similar thing with cars, isn't it? So if you get yourself a brand new car, my father bought himself a nice Merc when he retired, jumped onto the age pension, didn't count the value as the price that he bought the Merc for. Obviously, you walk it out the showroom, it loses a bit of value. It was what he could actually sell it. So a lot of people make the mistake of valuing cars, other assets at their insured value. It's what we call the market value.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So we're talking about the financial assets, the non-financial assets. What assets are exempt? So what isn't counted in the asset test? Because you can get away with a few things, can't you, Jason?
There's a couple things. The main thing is your primary residence. Okay, so your house that you live in, your family home, is generally not counted as an asset. So even if that's worth $1 million and you've got a nice house there, you may not have that counted towards.
So you're saying that you can actually have a house in Toorak and still be living in a $5 million house and still be getting the age pension? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, Peter, your mansion's not counted as an asset.
Okay, I wish. So what else isn't counted in the asset test, Andy?
But on the property side, just staying there, I mean, you just recently were kind of like speaking with a member that resides just outside of a regional town. They're on acreage.
Yep,
and
correct.
a lot of our members do, but I mean, there's special consideration in regards to those.
Yeah,
types of
correct.
properties.
So with your what we call your principal place of residence or your family home, you can have up to 2 hectares of land that isn't counted. Now, there are some exemptions about having the rest not counted. There's some certain tests you've got to apply, but effectively anything above that 2 hectares, it gets counted as an asset.
Yeah.
Okay. So what else? We've spoken about the family home not being counted up to a certain amount. What else doesn't get counted as an asset?
Well, I mentioned before about if you're of pension age, your super is taken into consideration. But we do have members that have a younger partner. So in those instances, the younger partner superannuation is excluded. And there are things that we can actually do around that to help the partner of pension age to get more or actually qualify for the age pension.
So what do we call it? There's a term for that, isn't
Yeah,
there?
it's Centerlink sheltering. So if you're a couple, they do count you as a couple, even if you're both not included there. But that's super being under. So Centerlink sheltering, what you can do is if you've got a couple there, one of them's pension age, we can look at moving some of the money into the younger spouse's name and hiding that from Centerlink legally.
That doesn't sound legal. So is it legal? Is it legal?
It is legal. I've actually referred members to Centerlink around that very concept. And Centerlink goes, yeah, we support this.
So Centerlink knows about it, they're on top of it, and they're fully comfortable with actually doing this.
Yeah.
What's one of the issues that happens as people get older with Centerlink sheltering? So what happens once that younger person gets to age pension?
Yeah, well, once the younger person gets to age pension, it becomes counted, so you no longer get that exemption.
So you can't hide it, is that what you're saying,
Not
Jason?
forever.
Not forever. Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Has everyone got an example where they've actually done that for a member?
Yeah, I mean, I had a couple who they had the older man the husband, he was approaching pension age, had around about 600 grand in his super. His wife was around about 60 and had never really worked. And basically what we did was we moved a fair bit of his super over, got him about an extra 10,000 a year in age pension benefits. So for a 6-year period, it's a nice little bonus.
So about 60 grand better off that they would have been, roughly. Okay, so today we've spoken about the age pension and the asset test. Please bear in mind that there is also an income test that you have to satisfy as well, and they work in conjunction with each other. If you have any further questions, please go and talk to Centerlink. There is a person there called the Financial Information Service Officer, or the FISO, and they're really good in terms of helping you maximise your age pension. They're there to help you, not actually hurt you. You can also come and talk to us if you've got some questions about how to use your super and how it interacts with the age pension. Please come and talk to us. You can talk to Jason, myself or Andy, and we're also here to provide you with some further assistance. There are some contact details at the bottom of the screen. Thank you for joining us today, and until next time, bye-bye.